Hi gang, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with the Snack Master. I'm your Snack Master, Matt Rothstein. This is Michael, also known as the Snack Master Jr. And today's my mom's birthday. So for mom's birthday, we're going to do something a little bit different, because something you haven't seen out of the Snack Master yet. Today, a little bit of baking. That's right, the Snack Master has a little bit of baking tricks up the sleeve here. We're going to do a snack forest cake. Also known as black forest cake, but hey, Snack Master, right? We got to stick with the premise. So, what we're going to do is make a devil's food cake from scratch, fill it with a cherry filling in the middle, and we're also going to put cherries on top, and we're going to dot the outside of the cherries with little rosettes of fresh, real whipped cream, and we're going to then frost the side with whipped cream too. I don't usually bake because, yeah, it's measuring, it's exact. Baking is more about science than cooking. If you try to mess around and just throw things together the way you do when you cook, you're going to destroy it. You're not going to have anything good as a baking product. You have to do science. You have to follow the exact measurements. Matter of fact, what I learned in culinary school is that baking isn't actually a recipe. Baking is a formula. That's what we call it in the business. So we're going to get into some snacky baking today. We're going to do a snack, or really a dessert. And as far as I'm concerned, dessert is just an elegant, refined snack. So, Snack Master doing some snacking. We're going to get into these ingredients in just a second. I'm going to show you what I got to do. Michael just came back, and we're going to get into this, and we're going to have some lovely, lovely cake today. So, stick around, gang. We'll be right back. We're back here on Cooking with the Snack Master. And like I said, we're going to start to get into a detail of these ingredients. But once again, like I said, there's a couple of things you got to know about baking. First of all, baking is a formula, so we have exact measurements of exact ingredients here. Second of all, there's specific ways that you want to prepare baking ingredients. You want to put them together in a very specific way so that they come together nicely. You want to put together your dry ingredients in one bowl, you're going to put your wet ingredients in another bowl, and then you're going to add the wet to the dry. And we're going to get that going in just a second here. So, first thing we want to do is we have our dry ingredients, once again measured out. And we're going to start with Michael handing me the ingredients. So Michael, come here buddy. First thing I need is my sugar. Okay, so give me the sugar. Thank you. 2 cups of sugar. Ingredient number 1. Alright. 1 3/4 cups of flour. Then we have here 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. Michael's going to take that and he's going to pour that in. Thank you, Michael. Alrighty. Then we have a teaspoon of salt. Pour that in, Michael. We have a teaspoon and a quarter of baking powder. Now, normally this recipe calls for 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, kids. I want to let you know that. I'm using a little bit less because, again, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at a higher elevation, you have to use a little bit less of a leavening agent because it rises up faster. Okay, so you get a flat tire if you don't lower the leavening. So we have here 1 1/4 cups of baking powder, but if you're at sea level, you're going to use 1 1/2. So let's put that in. And same with the baking soda. Put it in, Michael. 1 1/4 of this, but at your altitude, if you're at sea level, you're going to use 1 1/2. Actually, same deal with the sugar. The sugar, the recipe calls for 2 cups, which is what I told you, and that's accurate when you're at sea level. I actually had to take out a couple of tablespoons because, again, sugar, when it bakes, becomes like a liquid, and you have to readjust your liquid and readjust your formula when you're at a high altitude. So if you're up here in Albuquerque, where I'm at, you're going to follow the 1 1/4 for each of the leavening agents, and you're going to take 2 tablespoons out of the sugar. If you're at sea level, you're not going to do that, just follow the straight recipe. So what we want to do now is, the reason this is in this fine mesh strainer is because we want to sift these ingredients together. Michael likes to help me sift. We sift these together because it aerates the flour, because it cuts down on the lumps, I know I've heard people say things like you sift through it because you're looking for bugs. I don't have bugs in my flour, so that's a fallacy. That's not true. Okay, but what we do want to do, like I said, is we want to get some air in this, and we want to get things started to combine nicely, and we want to get the lumps. See all those lumps? See all those lumps right there of cocoa powder? Well, that's a lot of cocoa, and we want those. So we take our whisk and run this through the fine mesh strainer, and those lumps get unlumped. Now we have our cocoa. Beautiful. So, once this is all in here, you still got to bring it together. Michael wants to stir it together. So go ahead, Michael, again, give it a good whisk. Don't stir too hard, because if you stir too hard, you're going to make everything jump out of the bowl.
Okay. So
stir carefully, but you're doing a good job. And Michael, while you do that, I'm going to start to put together the wet ingredients, because we have wet ingredients that go in too. All right? So let's take a look over here. You stir. We have this bowl here, and into this bowl we're going to add 1 cup of milk. All right. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And next goes in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we got 2 eggs. Always crack your eggs on a flat surface, otherwise the shells can get into the eggs. You notice how I'm not cracking these on the side of the bowl. Cracking on the side of the bowl is bad. So now we have all that together there. We'll wash up after we touch the eggs. And we need this still incorporated. Move that over there a little bit. Let's take a look at our cake mix. And hey kids, look, just like magic. Cake mix, just like you would get if you bought it out of a box. But we made it ourselves. I like making things myself. I've noticed that at this altitude I have trouble actually with cake mixes in a box. Something about those high altitude directions just don't always work out accurately. So I don't mess with them. So I take this here now, and we're going to whisk up our wet ingredients. Another thing you want to remember at this altitude where I'm at is if you're at 5,000 feet or above, flour is magically drier at this altitude. So since it's drier up here, you actually have to add a little bit more liquid to your recipes. So that's another thing that I'm going to do, is part of this recipe calls for 1 cup of boiling water at the very end. And so we're going to do that. So when we put together the 1 cup of boiling water, what we're going to do is we're actually going to add about, and there's the boiling water. You hear that, gang? Let's go get that. Alright, so the boiling water is ready to go. And when we add that in, we're going to add in about 2 tablespoons per cup of flour extra. So really we're going to add about 3 or so tablespoons of extra water, which is about 1/4 cup. So instead of 1 cup of water, we're going to add about 1 1/4. And this is ready to go. We got the wet ingredients ready. We got the dry ingredients ready. Now, time to make a little bit of noise, kids, because we got to add one to the other and give it a bit of a beat with our electric beater. So add that in. And you know what I like to do with something like this? I like to give it a little bit of a head start with my whisk. Just so that we can cut down on the amount of mess. But we will definitely beat this. It requires beating. Alright, that's good. Now, time for the noisemaker, gang. I'm going to give this a good beat on about a medium speed for about 2 minutes. Alright, gang, that right there That right there is some lovely, smooth, beautiful chocolate cake. What we're going to do now is take our boiling water. We're going to get 1 1/4 cups, and again, we have to measure things because it's baking. So, we're going to do that. While we're doing that and getting that ready, our last step, we have our oven preheated. It is preheated at 370 degrees. 370 is because, again, at this altitude, you have to increase your baking time by about 20 degrees or so, and you also have to change the cooking time. You have to shorten it a little bit, because if you don't do that, again, you get flat tires, you get bad cakes. So let's mix in this water. Alright, the water's mixed in, and as you can see by my brown spotted countertop, we really cook on this show, we really bake on this show too. So we're going to have to wipe that up in just a second when we come back. Meantime, we're going to take this when we come back, and we're going to put it in 2 cake pans that we're going to grease with a, I like to use that spray that is like the cooking spray with the flour mixed in. I think that's really good for cakes. So I'm going to spray up my cake pans, 2 8-inch cake pans we're going to use for this. And you're going to see that in just a second. We're going to put in the cake batter, and we'll be right back on Cooking with the Snack Master.
That smells incredible.
So now it's time to add in this batter. We're going to do this, and we're going to eye this out. If you're a person who has one of those tare scales and you want to weigh this and make sure you get it exactly right, that's fantastic. That's a good thing to do if you have the equipment. I don't have that equipment, so I'm just going to eye it out. And it will be close enough for snacking. Alright, I'd say that's about good. So what we're going to do now is, like I said, we're going to take these cakes. We're going to take these cakes and we're going to get them into a 370 degree oven for about 28 minutes. And while we're doing that, we're going to talk about some other things, so we'll be back in just a second here on Cooking with the Snack Master. Alright kids, we're back here on Cooking with the Snack Master, and I just heard my timer beep, so it's time to check the cake. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to tell you something about what you want to do when you check cakes. You see, you don't want to be sticking with stuff. What you want to do is feel the cake. Use your hands. If it feels solid, it is solid. So this one is done. I'm going to take this out. We have cooling racks right here. And whoa. I'm going to take our cakes, put them on the cooling racks. When you cool them, you want to start cooling them in the pans like this. Give them about 5 to 10 minutes like this. Then you're going to take them out of the pans, dump them onto the racks, and let them cool. The reason why you want to use cooling racks is because you want air to circulate underneath and over top so that it cools evenly. So we're going to let these cakes cool. When we come back, we're going to have the cooling cakes over there, and we're going to set up to start showing you how to make some fresh whipped cream, and we'll be right back in just a minute on Cooking with the Snack Master. Alright kids, we're back here on Cooking with the Snack Master. The cake is out. I got it on the little presentation tray. Nice little doily action there, make it nice and pretty for my mom for her birthday. This is properly cooled. I have the other piece, the topper over there. We're going to get this out of the way because right now it's time to make some whipped cream. So, let's get to that. I'm going to put this over here. Now, some tricks to whipped cream. One of them, hi Michael. Michael's going to watch. One of them is heavy cream. Then we have here our confectioner's sugar. We have here some vanilla. Get our mixer back in action. Now what we need to do is we're going to start cooking. Now, why don't you see anything here? Where's the bowl? Here's a trick. The bowl's in the freezer. So are the beaters for the mixer. Why? Because 2 things. First of all, whipped cream likes metal, so we're using a metal bowl, a stainless steel bowl. I don't have the nice pretty glass bowl that I usually do things with so you can see what I'm doing, because the whipped cream for the chemical process to happen, it likes the metal bowl. Also, whipped cream likes cold. So that's why all the implements are in here. So we're going to go get all the implements out of the freezer. We're going to put them out here. Then we're going to make some whipped cream. So what we do is real simple. Take whipped cream, heavy whipping cream, whipping, see, whipped cream, whipping, works. Pour that in a bowl. I'm going to put that over. It's about, I don't know, I'd say it's about a cup, cup and a half. And then we're going to make some more noise. Alright kids, now what we have there, I'm going to bring you over for a second so you can have a look. This is soft peaks. You want to add it to soft peaks before you add in the sugar and the vanilla. Now, if you were doing classic French whipped cream, all you would do is keep beating this until it became stiff peaks, and that would be whipped cream. But since we're going to sweeten it, what the French actually call that is a little bit of a different thing. It's called chantilly, and chantilly is sweetened whipped cream. So I'm going to bring you over, I'm going to show you how this looks with the soft peaks. We're going to add in our sugar and our vanilla, beat it till it's stiff, and then we're going to start some cake decorating, so stick around. Alright kids, we're back, and what we have here is whipped cream that's still moving around, but has got soft peaks. So now that we have soft peaks, we're going to add in our sugar here, and this is about, it's about a quarter of a cup. And we're going to add in our vanilla. Go ahead, Michael, add in the vanilla. Thank you. Okay, and we're going to put that over there. Now we're just going to do some more beating, gang, until it's stiff. And that's stiff whipped cream. Now, if you can see this, you can see how stiff it is. There is a fine line between whipped cream and butter. And for trying to do cake decoration and stuff like that with this, you really want to bring right about up to that line as close as you can. You don't want to make butter, of course, but the stiffer you make this, the better it's going to be to work with when you're trying to do cake decorating. So let's give it a taste. Let's check the consistency and see what we think. We got a spoon here. Consistency is great. Look, doesn't even fall off the spoon. So it's a very stiff whipped cream, which is exactly what we want. Let's taste it. It tastes absolutely great.
I want to taste it.
Well, let's get another spoon then, if you want to taste it, Michael, because you know what? That spoon was in my mouth, so we don't stick it back in the whipped cream now because that's dirty, right, buddy? So here, take a spoon, and you may have a taste. But let's just have a little taste because we need to save some for Grandma's cake. That's fine. What do you think?
Good.
Good, huh? All right, see? Snackmaster Jr. approves. So I think we're in business. So what we're going to do now is set up here for the next phase, which is decorating that cake. So give us just a second and we'll be right back here on Cooking with the Snackmaster. So don't go anywhere. Alright gang, we are back once again here on Cooking with the Snackmaster. We got our cake. We got a couple of bags here. One bag has frosting in it, one bag has whipped cream in it, and we have our cherries. So let's start showing us how we decorate this cake. First thing is the chocolate frosting. Now, what's the purpose of the chocolate frosting? I'm going to show you right now. See how I'm bringing this ring around the cake? What this ring does is it's going to create a border that will keep the cherries from sliding off the cake. So that's very important. So we just do that. Very simple. Just make a ring like that. And now we have a little bit of protection because we like to practice safe baking on this show. Now we can start spooning in our cherries. And they're not going to go all over the place now because we have protection. So this cherry filling, by the way, I will admit, is out of a can, and so is the frosting because you know I love to do things fresh on the show, but there are certain things that really just come better when you buy them in the store. I find that cherry pie filling is one of those things. This is just good like this, okay? So we take that around, see how that's going right up to the edge, and that's good, that's what we want. So you see, but it's not going off because we have the frosting there. The frosting created a boundary for us. So that right there is the middle of the cake, done that fast. That's the easy part, kids. Now, The tougher part is the top. We're going to take this top here, put this on the cake carefully so we don't break it, right? Okay, see? Got that guy on. And that's not going anyplace, and the cherries aren't going anyplace. Our filling is in place, which is good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create another border for the cherries again, because more cherries go on top. I'm leaving a little bit of edge on the outside of the cake when I make this border. That's on purpose too, because you see on the outer edge of the cake, that's where I'm going to make rosettes. So that's good. And now we're going to do more cherries. I want to make this nice and smooth and even, especially this one because this is the top layer. So it has to look nice. And we are good to go. So that takes care of that. Next thing is we have whipped cream in a bag, in a piping bag. And we're going to try and make little decorations and rosettes around the cake. I'm making these pretty little flower designs. Okay. Look at that, kids. Huh? Look at that. That right there is a pretty cake. But we still have one more thing to do. We're going to go around the side here now with some more of that whipped cream, which I've been keeping in the fridge because, once again, whipped cream likes cold. And we're working with an awful lot of light here, and the light generates an awful lot of heat. So, now, we're just going to come around the side. See? Just like that. There. And that is a beautifully decorated, wonderful, nice snack forest cake. And there it is, guys. Let's take a look at that. Make sure we get it that way. Bring it over to the camera carefully because we don't want to tilt and ruin our cake. But look, happy birthday. We're going to pick it back up at Mom's house so you guys can actually see me cutting a piece of this cake and eating a piece. So we'll see you at Mom's house in a few minutes, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll be right back. Alright gang, we're back here on Cooking with the Snack Master. We're at my uncle's house and my mom's house, and it's, like I said, Mom's birthday. Mom just blew out the candles, so we're going to cut the cake and we're going to have a bite. So we'll let you know how this pretty cake turned out. Hope it tastes as good as it looks. Actually, I don't have to hope, I know. So I've made this cake before. So let's do it.
Okay.
Cut the cake, Mom. This cake, oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it looks to die for.
It's moist, it's chocolatey, it's decadent and delicious. This is what you want when you want to have a snack from the Snack Master, kids. This right here is Snack Forest Cake. We'll see you next time on Cooking with the Snack Master. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at @TheOneSnackMaster. Don't forget to come to our Facebook page, Cooking with the Snack Master, and don't forget to come to our blog, which is cookingwiththesnackmaster.tumblr.com. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.
Watch the rising steam, the silver